No, the Seahawks will not cover an 11th straight game as a home underdog outside of their division. Pretty nice run. Dates back to, I believe, 11 or 2011, where the Seahawks have not lost a game or covered a game as a home dog outside of their division. Last weekend, the 49ers did a number on the Seahawks. They continued what I call the end of the Pete Carroll and his staff in the 23-24 Seahawks season. Now, let's reference that. I said that was the end of this season. The reality, or the true blue indicator of that belief and understanding, probably is a better word or term, was a game in which the Hawks squared off against the Commanders in Week 11, a home tilt against Washington, in which they won. But with that one, I talked to some of my comrades at arms, and I told them that was all I needed to see, and I knew that the Seattle team was a play against, really, moving forward the rest of the season. This is not a team, I've always mentioned, teams are either getting better or they're getting worse. Rarely are teams going to stay status quo, stand pat with what they have and just kind of play it out. Other coaches are going to move in young kids if they basically are tanking or waving the white flag, and the good teams are going to continue to get better, and they're going to win. And they may beat teams that are still continuing to play hard, but the cream typically rises to the crop this time of year, and that's what we're going to see here on Sunday in Seattle. That Washington game, by the way, was a game where Smith threw for almost 400 yards. He threw for almost 400 yards. He led 2 scoring drives late in the fourth quarter, the second resulting in a Jason Myers 43-yard field goal as time expired to beat Washington 29-26. That defensive effort, this is what this team has turned into. They've been really good offensively and I think they've gotten a lot worse defensively. A lot of it has to do with injuries, which I'll reference here at the end of this bit. But it was a reeling squad too, this Washington squad. So your quarterback throws for almost 400 yards, and you sneak in the back door while your opponent is either celebrating or they're inebriated to the condition where you can reach in their pocket and walk away with whatever they got, which is a win here. Give you a check mark, but it is just a check mark in the column, or in their mind, your mind, if you're a Seattle fan, if you will. But it really isn't a win, is it? No. It's birds versus birds, guys. Monday Night Football, Seattle Seahawks 6-7, hosting the Eagles, who are catching more negatives in, on, and around the press, not just in the city of brotherly love, but in the national scope as well. This is coming with an Eagles team that may well have squeezed a win or two out along the 14 weeks they've played so far in this campaign. But this is a Philly team that is 10-3, and they're not trying to squeeze anything, come up with a trick play, so maybe they can win a game on the road. This team's very capable of putting Seattle away early, despite losing their last 2 games, which, by the way, a 2-game losing streak where they were pounded. But who were they pounded by? They made some mistakes. Who were they pounded by? San Francisco, Dallas. Two pretty good teams. 2 teams are going to be playoff contenders, not contenders, going to be postseason worthy and qualifiers. The Eagles come in 4-point road chalk, right, on this Monday night feature. The game will be played out Lumen Field, as I mentioned, in the Pacific Northwest, and the odds makers set that opening number at 3.5 or 4, depending on your store, with 47.5 point total. That is, to this point, at least at the time this NFL Pick to Click program was taped, hold serve in relation to the opening line, 47.5. The Seahawks first. Seahawks, below 500 team, sitting the number 9th seed in the NFC. Any accolades or butt slaps you want to give this team come with a minus 38-point differential all season long and a season-long yards per play negative to what they have surrendered, meaning they've given up more yards per play than they've gained. They rank in the bottom third of the league in yards per play allowed. A quick note for the situational purposes of this taping, and that's my take on Philly versus Seattle on Monday night. It's just my take. But they're a 9th seed, Seattle. The 9th seed in the NFC is not a preseason slot. Even the expanded playoffs, which are now 7 teams from each conference, make the bracket. It's not where Seattle is. In fact, they sit behind the Eagles, Vikings, and Packers in the wild card race for that 7th spot, right? The Rams, they have the same record. The Packers have the same record as Seahawks. The Packers own the tiebreaker over the Rams. The Rams are in the position where they own the tiebreaker over Seattle as well. And the Packers again over the Rams. So a tough road to select, all things equal. They really need to win out. Seattle needs to win out all four to be a part of the postseason. And all this encompasses what this game is going to be about. The Packers have the most favorable schedule, yada, yada, yada. And for the most part, it's very true that this Rams team may have to win out. But they play San Francisco in the final game of the season, Week 18, and it's very possible, depending on the scenario, that the San Francisco doesn't even need to play. They may have that number 1 seed wrapped up, won't have to play their starters the entire game. So never an easy task for an old, wise, wicked gambler, any kind of individual or team to ride into Lumen, strut in field, and walk away with a win over Pete Clay, Carroll's Seahawks. It's difficult to do, but that's exactly what's going to happen on Monday night. Things are always sunny in Philly, that show, whatever it is. I love that show, by the way. But if you're a part of the Eagles organization, things really are always sunny. There's turbulent times. The Eagles franchise, there's 15-minute moments that result in some sour grapes. But you got to go back to Andy Reid. The last time this team won 2 consecutive divisions, which they're inclined to do, the Eagles, was when Andy Reid was the coach there. And we all know that he's been at Kansas City now for 10 years, and that was long before Andy retired or was fired from Philly. Me personally, I'm tired of the media really dogging this Philly team. Head and shoulders at every position on the field, almost every position on the field, the Eagles are better than Seattle. There's some injuries to Seattle as well. In the secondary, 2 starting cornerbacks who were hurt last week likely may not play. And on the horizon, the Seattle troop, they started the slide in 4 games. I mentioned the Washington game that they lost, or they won barely. But I said they were going to lose the next 4. This is the 4th of the 4 that I thought they would lose. First San Francisco, Dallas, San Francisco a second time, and now the Eagles. So, I might recommend that you still want to consider backing away from this game because the dog, or at least the road team, giving the number to the home team who's desperate. But I'm not one who likes to bet on desperate teams. I don't think the Eagles are desperate. I don't think they have to win this game. I think they're going to play better, but play looser. I think they're healthier. And I think, again, top to bottom, they're a better team. So as far as Monday night in Seattle, this first ever, by the way, in the history of NFL flexing, the switch that removed the Chiefs and Patriots from this Monday night game moved the Birds and the Eagles into this time slot, or the Birds versus the Birds into this time slot. And every dime of my money, if I'm in this room, is on the Eagles. And before you go, that is my pick to click, by the way. But before you go, the promo this week for anyone you're interested, gift 25, GIFT 25. It's $25 off 7-day all-access pass of your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo handicapper. Give me the Eagles minus the number. See you Monday night.